Yeah, YouTube, what up? Welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Watts, and I'm Watts. Today, I want to talk about little things that would make the wrestling product a little bit better. Like little small minor things, like little things that they would think that we don't notice or we don't care about particularly, but we really do, or at least I do. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that everybody cares about this, but this is my channel, so I'm going to talk about it. But without further ado, let's talk about 5 things that will make the product a lot better. Let's tap in. Number 5, Titantron movies. Now, on the grand scheme of things, this may not be on WWE's agenda in regard to changing or rectifying this, but growing up, this was one of the high points of watching a superstar's entrance, was the Titantron. It had the video of their wrestling moves or just them posing or doing their emotes and stuff like that. And then the logo would come up, then it would be more highlights and stuff. Basically, it's a highlight reel as you're entering the ring for those who are new to this and don't really know what was going on back then. But they used to put a lot of stock into this, and it would be a 1-minute video clip, and then it would just keep looping as the entrance goes on. But I enjoyed those. My favorite ones was Raw Van Dam's, Rey Mysterio's was up there, one of my favorites, Shawn Michaels, stuff like that. It just showed what they done in the past, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one. Triple H was another one of my favorites. My favorite scene for that one was Triple H hitting Shawn Michaels in the back with the sledgehammer and stuff. And I feel like there's not too much of that anymore. Actually, if it's really not none of that at all. The only person who has a Titantron movie right now, I think, is Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. It's definitely Kevin Owens. Those are the only 2 that I can recall. Everybody else has got a stupid logo, or a stupid logo is just their face, and it's not no motion, it's nothing, it's just there. And this was definitely a pivotal part of my upbringing and being on SmackDown versus Raw, choosing different Titantron movies, or and it used to be the Titantron movie at the top for the big screen, and then it was like the regular, the Minitron, or that had like the little logo or the name and stuff like that. I was spoiled. I was spoiled. The early 2000s, the late 90s, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, it was lit. But let's proceed. Number 4, better motherfucking soundtracks, bro. Across the board, different soundtracks for PLEs, different soundtracks for superstars, theme music. Def Rebel gotta go. They are terrible. They just be making generic ass themes for everybody, and then there's a small selection of people who was able to either keep their old theme song or they have licensed music. And it's like, damn, wrestling used to consist of somebody getting hype off of just a pure entrance, like just somebody coming out and the crowd going crazy. Like I remember Matt Hardy's theme song, Jeff Hardy's No More Words theme, even the themes that didn't have lyrics to them, like let's say Victoria's very first theme song. It was cool, it was just an instrumental and stuff like that, but it was fly. And it would get you into the match. Or a promo, like they're about to cut a promo, they come out and they cut somebody else off with the promo. The music has just been lacking in WWE for the last couple of years. We getting the Weeknd every time WrestleMania comes around. We're getting a song from the Weeknd, and it's like I remember it was a point where WrestleMania for 3 years straight it was the same Weeknd song, and it's like, come on, bro. And I have a feeling they're gonna do the same thing with the Travis Scott Fiend song. After a while, that shit is annoying too. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I'm a hip hop purist, so I'm not a big fan of like the melodic stuff for real. Like I can take it in doses, pause. But to be honest, I'm not a fan of it. They're bringing in all of these guys, and that's another thing. They use a lot of like pop culture and a lot of like urban stuff for like the themes to draw people in, but they won't push a black person, right? But that's another story for another day. But the theme music is god awful, and I truly hope that they don't resign Def Rebel to do anything. CFOs was better than this. CFO, and I'm not the biggest fan of the CFOs because I come from the Jim Johnson era, but nah man, Def Rebel was like bottom of the barrel dirt. They're super cheap. All of their music sounds like they use stock instruments off of the FL Studio Trial. And if you know music, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, man. But yo, E, get your shit together, man. This next thing, this is probably minuscule to some, but it's serious to me. Stop having the superstar sit in the crowd. Back in the day, they would only have a wrestler sit in the crowd if they're a new signee. If they're like, oh, Keith Lee is coming to NXT, or the newest signee, Kevin Owens or something like that. Back in the day, they would do things of that nature, which is fine. But I don't want to see if a champion is watching a number one contenders match, I don't want to see him in the crowd. Put their asses in the commentators table with Wade Barrett and Michael Cole, and then let them do commentary and talk on the microphone while the match is going on. Like, oh no, yeah, this is a great competitor, but you know they're not going to beat me though. Like stuff like that. And another thing, this is like a 3A 3B situation. But yo, I am so tired of the jobber entrances for superstars that are at a higher magnitude than the jobbers. Like, they need to stop that completely. Just because they want to do more commercials and get more money, they're stopping people's entrances. Why the hell does Bayley have a jobber entrance in some matches, man? Why the hell does the I don't know, Roxanne Perez have a jobber entrance where they just she's already in the ring, and then they be like, oh yeah, Roxanne, they put the nameplate under her name or something like that. Or I don't like that. That's bullshit. You know, it's little things like this that I feel like makes me think that WWE and they just play on people's intelligence, man. Come on, what are we doing? But I'm a proceed. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of all of this. The ropes. Number 2, the ropes. I'm so sick of seeing just white ropes. And that goes for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, PLEs. I want it to go back to the way it once was. I'm not like a super nostalgic person. I'm into new ideas and new things being brought to us. But the overall production of all of this, it just feels cheapened, bro. I want red ropes for Raw, blue ropes for SmackDown, black ropes for NXT, or black and white ropes for PLEs. That's cool. I can run with that. I can live with that. But the presentation is just as important as the product or the wrestling that's going on in the ring. I was spoiled. Raw was red, so the ropes was red, and the ring post was black. SmackDown was blue, and the ring post was silver. And then even back in the day, when NXT was black and gold, the ropes were yellow. But now, they're just white ropes, super plain. It just goes into what I was saying when I said previously, it feels like they're playing on our intelligence. They're cheapening the overall experience. You know, it feels like when WWE wasn't making as much money as they're making now, the product was a lot better. The product was a lot more enjoyable. Like, it was more bang for your buck, you know. And that brings me into number 1, the stages. There are no unique stages for any of these PLEs except WrestleMania, except maybe SummerSlam, if that. And lately with SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble, it's just been a long ramp. It's just been a long ramp, or a ramp that goes in like a zigzag or something like that, and I don't like that. I'm not even expecting Raw and SmackDown to have, I would love them to have unique stages. That would be cool as hell, but I'm not even expecting that. At least for the PLEs, and I'm not even talking about the major PLEs. I'm talking about all of them. Like, I remember back in the day, Backlash was one of my favorite stages. SmackDown, obviously, with the fist was one of my favorite stages as well. Armageddon was one of No Mercy. It was so many cool variations of stages, but they're just taking the cheap way out. And it's crazy because it's like all of this money that they're making with TKO, all of the AdSense, the commercials, is way more commercials on Raw and SmackDown these days than it was previously. And I understand that money needs to be made, but put that money into the production, bro. Like, you giving me HD cameras, and truthfully, this all started with Vince McMahon. This started in 2009 when they went from giving us the rectangular movie screen for Raw and SmackDown, or SmackDown it would have the fist and stuff like that. It started there. And even then, we had unique pay-per-views of stages and stuff like that, but it just got worse over time. Now, we get nothing.
No ribs, no rice, no champagne. You don't eat nothing.
We get nothing. I used to be excited about the new stages, or, oh, it's a PLE. Like, what type of stage are they going to come up with now? You know, I used to get hyped for that, or even playing the SmackDown versus Raw games and stuff like that. You know, being able to throw your opponent off of the stage, or interactive environmental grapples and throwing people into screens and stuff, or climbing the top of the stage, or climbing on the top of the movie screen and jumping off. Like, I'm talking about Here Comes the Pain days and stuff like that. That stuff I miss, man. And these are all little minuscule things that can make the production better, just make the overall WWE experience a lot better. And that's why I appreciate AEW. That's why I appreciate New Japan and stuff like that, because there's always a certain level of uniqueness that those companies bring to the tables when it comes to the stage, the production, and stuff like that. WWE, they know that people are going to tap in and watch no matter what, so they don't care about these things that they should care about. And that's why I'm here airing out my grievances and stuff like that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments that they should change, or they should go back to, or what could make the product better. Like little small minuscule things for the production side that could make the product better. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for help growing the channel. This is the quest for 1,000 subs. Almost at 600 now. But like I said previously, it don't matter if I have 2 subs, 200 subs, 200,000 subs. I'm tapped in. I'ma just keep on voicing my opinion and saying what it is and what it ain't. But yo, I appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.